So today we're reviewing
Madagascar.
Madagascar is a classic movie. I remember as a kid. It's revolving around 4 animals for the most part in one zoo. And this movie is just a classic. It's one of our favorite movies, obviously, continuing this My Favorite Movie series. And what were your overall thoughts of Madagascar?
Well, like I said before, this is one of my. It's an all-time classic. It's a movie that really. It's a 2005 film that came out literally in the middle of our childhoods. Like I was about in the 4th grade, probably. You were probably in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And we grew up to this. We really did grow up to this movie. We grew up to a lot of movies, but this was definitely one that we watched a lot as a kid. I remember watching the DVD with the opening, with the DreamWorks thing, with the penguins.
Yeah,
kind of the play on that, and it really just shows how much we watched this movie as a kid, as kids, and basically this movie I love for a lot of reasons, and like you see, it's a reoccurring theme in our favorite movies here that we talk about in this series we're doing, is that obviously the main characters, like he just said, there's 4 main characters that it focuses on for the most part, but there's just the entire cast from the most important character to the least important character are just phenomenal, and every single one's interesting and funny. Yeah. The comedy lands, the storyline's great, the movie's just great, and once again, the characters really drive this film, and the comedy just really, every single line works, and it's just a great film, and I liked it for all those reasons.
Yeah, there's so many reasons to like this movie. I was just rewatching movie clips, basically all of them, and it's such an easy movie to watch. Like you said, the comedy is just on point. These characters are so great. It's just every line works, and the animation is great. The storyline's great, and it's just that the comedy is just so good in this movie. And like you said, there's not a bad character. Every character's good. The main ones are great and amazing, but then there's amazing side characters that just elevate it so much more. And you make it halfway through this movie, new characters are introduced, and they're great.
And the voice talent's obviously amazing in this film from every single character. Literally, obviously, ones I can think of right now: Chris Rock's Marty. I think David Schwimmer, whatever you pronounce his last name, from Friends, is the giraffe. Yeah, Ben Stiller. No, Ben Stiller's Alex. So obviously, and he's obviously hilarious in a lot of movies he's in. And just like I said, the voice talent's great. And even the ones that you really don't know the names, they do a great job. Because let's just get into the characters right now. Obviously, this movie.
Let's just name them.
Yeah. So obviously, the 4 main characters that this film focuses on is a lion named Alex the lion, then the zebra, who is Marty, the hippo in Gloria, and then the giraffe in Melman. And those are the 4 main characters. Then obviously just naming off other characters. There's the penguins. Let's see if I can do this right now.
We forgot here, sorry.
Yeah, there's no penguins, but they're a major force in this film. Probably one of the... Honestly, they were such a good part of this film that they actually got their own TV show.
They stole the show.
So they really did steal the show, and their names are the four penguins. I think it's Private, Skipper, Rico,
Kowalski.
And Kowalski. So
I love that Penguins of Madagascar show.
The fact that we know those names just shows how important they were, and just how special they were. And there's the 2 chimpanzees. I don't really know the names. I think one of
Phil
them...
and...
Phil is one of them. I don't think...
Phil
you don't know
and,
the other one.
No, sorry. One of them's Phil, and then... because he says Phil can read. Yeah, Phil's the one who can do sign language.
so there's those characters, and then that's basically the animals that you see and follow from the zoo in New York City. Yeah. But I think that's all once in the zoo, and then once you get to Madagascar, then there's more characters there if you want to introduce those characters.
Yeah. So then we get introduced to King Julien here. King Julien, who is honestly one of my favorite characters. I think he's even better in the second one. He's such a great character, along with Maurice, who is a character who gets no respect in the movie. That's part of it. He's always saying smart things, but King Julien always just ignores him. And then you got Mort, who is and the little guy who's great. And then you got a lot of other characters. You got the Fusa. Yeah, but really, King Julien, I have to point that out, is that King Julien is just such a funny character. His comedy is just great. I don't know how he's leading this group of people, but him and Maurice... That's the reason why they were in the Penguins of Madagascar show, too, because they're so good.
Shh! We're hiding. Be quiet, everyone. Including me. Shh! Who's making that noise? Oh, it's me again.
They're just such great characters.
It's really just the way the characters play off each other. Like, just naming the King Julien and Maurice, the way that they just interact is just absolutely hilarious. Yeah. There's some great lines between those two. Obviously, between Mort as well. But then also, I think, like I said before, another reason why this movie really worked for me personally was because of the storyline. Because obviously, they set the stage that Marty and Alex are great friends, and that's obviously the biggest storyline in this film is that, and it's honestly a pretty realistic storyline. Like,
Wants to go to the wild.
Like obviously, like once they get to the wild, like they all have food except Alex. Like he was getting steak every single time every single night at the zoo at the New York City Zoo. But then when they get to the wild, like he has to like get like that was honestly a good storyline. Like it was pretty realistic. It's like that's probably what would happen.
Sad, yeah.
It's pretty sad, but like once again though, it plays into that friendship between Marty and Alex, and there's some sad moments there between those two. As far as like not being like, I mean, it's kind of
facing the reality of it.
But then it comes full circle, and then like their friendship stays pretty strong. Like the storyline's really good there. And another character that we've left out was the old lady.
Yep,
who makes her appearance in this film. Who's honestly, I remember as a kid, that was always my favorite moment in this film was when she like is just beating up this huge lion. That still is pretty funny today watching that as well. And this movie, she definitely had not much of a role, because it was just in the beginning.
She's
but
better
obviously,
in the second one, I think.
She makes a big impact in the second one. So obviously, that was another great character that, once again, stole the show in a lot of ways. And it's always good when you have these side characters that really steal when they're on screen. Like is there one boring moment in this film?
No, I don't know one. There's not one boring moment in this film. Because that's the thing is, it goes from so many different locations. But it seems like it just gets better and better. You got the zoo, which I do have to point out one thing. I'm going to point out one negative, and then I'm not going to go anymore, probably, is that there's unrealistic things about this movie that you have to turn your brain off. It is a kid's movie. Please don't mark this as made for kids, though, YouTube. And it is, like, the animals can get to the other habitats. They can break out so easily.
Yeah.
But and obviously, you have to turn off your brain for that. But yeah, you go from the location of the zoo, which is just amazing, and it's just so I love seeing the different habitats. Like Gloria's habitat's really cool, and just how they interact there. I love the aspect with Melman and how he's so like he's a germaphobe. Seems like he would not be good now with you know what. But yeah, like talking about his MRI.
Yeah, MRI with Dr.
Dr. Goldberg.
Melman, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I often doze off while I'm getting an MRI.
He says he always dozes off when he gets an MRI, but it's ridiculous because he's a freaking giraffe. But and you got that. And you got the penguins though are so good in this movie, and which is why they made the show. And then I love that show so much. Now it's never on anymore. I don't know why, but that is so great.
The zoo setting was really good, and also just the fact that like Alex when he was going to sleep. He had like a heater above him, and he was like and they left the ambiance on again, and Marty had like hit it. And it was honestly a really good storyline as well, because Marty was like, I mean, you get to realize like he's stuck in this little habitat, and he's looking at this like painting of like an open field. Like there's a reason why he would want to go. And then there's funny scenes there with him trying to get to, like, obviously it's ridiculous. He gets out of the zoo, he's walking through, like, Grand Central Station, and, like, there's a scene in there. There's just, honestly, every setting is just a great setting. And there's just, I mean, once again, like, just to name a few of the comedic moments, there's, like, when Alex is trying to talk on the phone, it's, like, literally a line talking, like, it's, like that's actually another cool thing about this movie, is, like,
that is a good point.
The animals can talk to each other, but then humans can't understand what they're saying. So it's not like, that would honestly break kind of a, I mean, obviously it's ridiculous in the first place, but they can't actually talk to humans. So, I mean, that does keep a little bit of a funny thing there with, like, realistically, obviously we can't understand what animals say.
Yeah, that is the thing. That is a good point about this movie, is that there's different movies where the animals can talk to people, whether they can hear them. There's some where they think they can hear them, but they actually aren't. In this movie, that's the thing. The animals cannot talk to humans. It looks like they are, but they don't speak the same language. They do not. They don't talk. They think they are, but they're not. There's one thing I just wanted to point out is the thing. I think the thing about Marty going to the wild, the big difference between that was that Alex is like he's the big show. Remember that? And he gets his birthday
like
present.
He's the
is
main
literally
thing.
him.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why Alex loves it so much
ego.
there. Yeah, it's because he's the main attraction there, but Marty's not. So that's why he doesn't want to go, and he does, because he's already the main attraction.
The beach, the whole beach sequence, honestly, once they get to Madagascar, is just absolutely hilarious. I mean, they get there, and then, like, just to name off a couple, like, literally, like, Marty, like, first of all, Alex is the first one to land on this island, and, like, he thinks, like, he can't find him, and then obviously he finds Melman, then Gloria, then he sees Marty, but then, like, as they're running to each other, like, they're in slow motion, like, and he's, like, happy, but then, like, he's super mad.
Marty! Alex! Marty! Alex! Marty!
That seems pretty funny. He's like, he's so mad. And then obviously once they like kind of split into two groups, like first it's Marty on his own, but then like Alex's plan just falls just so bad that freaking his like Statue of Liberty like burns up because Melman like says,
You burned it up!
and then he puts like a help sign and like falls. That's a kid movie. It literally says like a bad word. And then like obviously Marty's building his thing over there. He like puts one thing like of a branch down, and like it looks like he's so helpless over there. And,
it looks like he's helpless, and then it turns into a freaking amazing thing. Maurice is the one. He's the one pointing out that Alex is that he's insane, or not insane, but that they should worry about him because he's this major threat.
He's a lion.
He's a freaking lion, yeah. And so, but King Julien doesn't care, just keeps ignoring him. The fact that he gives him the heebie-jeebies. But the thing is, and that is an interesting part about this movie is where it goes from totally funny to really dark is when Alex, it's the brutal reality that he's going to have to eat meat and that he eats zebras and stuff. So when that comes down to it and he's not getting food anymore, he starts losing it.
Well, I just want to mention really quick, another one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when they're in the forest, and Alex kind of just split up on his own, and it's like he's like falling through this like he goes in like a big waterfall. He like falls through like first he's going through cactus and like flowers on rocks. Makes no sense. He's going through like good things and then bad things. It's just like terrible.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And then they save this little like duck thing. It gets like eaten by like a rat. First a rat gets taken off by like a snake, but then he walks out, and then he gets picked up by a bird. Then a duck they save. They put him in the water, and like an alligator or crocodile like eats him. It's just like
the flower
that scene's great.
Something.
Yeah, the flower eats something. It's just, and I forget what song's playing through that. It's a beautiful world, I think.
Yeah,
it's
what
just
a
like,
wonderful world.
Yeah, that song is like as they're just like things are just going wrong, and then just once again, I think that was probably we've touched on everything. Then the ending's good when they're just beating up on those foods, so they're like overly ridiculous. Like constantly like stretches one out, and like it's like it's ridiculous.
Well, actually, there's one more scene where the penguins take over the ship. They knock this guy out here.
Well, yes, my favorite character in this movie would have to be, just looking back on it, just like what character sticks out the most. I always just laugh about. I would have to probably go with Maurice. I just think Maurice really just. I just think he just like. Honestly, if I had to pick two, I'd say Maurice and King Julien. That duo, just like how they're constantly going back and forth, and like just every time Maurice says something, like King Julien just kind of like downplays and just doesn't listen to him.
There's still something about that one with the crazy hairdo that I find suspicious.
Nonsense, Maurice. Let's go and meet the pansies.
And and obviously Maurice has some great lines as well. This is my favorite line, but like when he's just like when the Fusa, and then like all of a sudden he's like quiet, like they're not attacking us. This very instant.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Like something like that. But like I think they're probably my favorite characters, and then you can give your favorite characters, and then we'll give our favorite line.
Yeah. So I want to say Melman is my favorite character, and I think he's a great character. He just has so many funny lines. Yeah. But I guess I would have to go with King Julien. Did you pick King Julien?
Well, I said King Julien / and Maurice. I mean, that's their duo.
Yeah, the main character, the comedy's great between all of them, but King Julien just really steals the show in this movie. I think his comedy is so on point. The fact that the joke about being in his feet, and then just how he's the leader of these monkeys is just ridiculous on itself. In fact, he's always getting told obvious stuff by Maurice, but he ignores him in funny ways. And he just has so many funny lines, and he's such a great character that I'd have to say King Julien even in this movie.
I mean, really, obviously, if you want to say, like, obviously, Alex and Marty are great characters, but they're, like, main characters. We always think, like, the side characters always, like, kind of stand out more. But obviously, they're great. They carry this film because they're in the film from start to the end. So
everyone's great.
This movie really is about Marty and Alex and their friendship, and then everyone else is kind of part of it.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a great movie. My favorite line, there's a lot of great lines. It's hard to just pick one, but I'm down to 2 lines right now. I was going to do one when they're on a boat, but I won't say it now. I was going to say...
Are you serious? Just say it.
The part you haven't said yet is when Private says, or he's like pressing a bunch of buttons, and he's like, what's he say, like,
don't give me excuses, give me results. Shut him up.
Well, there's that. He's like, Skipper, I don't know the code, just like that.
Yeah.
Don't give me excuses, give me results.
I did it!
And that's when he slaps me in that. But the line I'm going to go with is early on in the film when...
he says Africa, that's not going to fly.
Well, that's a good one. But my favorite line of this film is that right at the beginning when the penguins are like trying to tunnel their way out of their exhibit, which they're using like plastic spoons, which is ridiculous in the first place. But then they get into Marty's habitat.
They're shovels.
And he sees like he's like or something like half-breed or something mammal. Like what continent is this? And he says like they're still in Manhattan. He's like, and then he's my favorite line is Hoover. Damn, we're still in Manhattan.
What continent is this?
Manhattan.
Hoover, damn. We're still in New York.
So the only they can cuss in the kitchen, I stage like that, and then that's a great little scene there.
I mean, there's a lot of great lines in this movie. If I had to pick out one, oh man, I don't honestly. I think my favorite line would have to be from King Julien when they're on the plane and Maurice says something very obvious. Says that the lion still gives him the heebie-jeebies, and he tells him that his line's gonna be stricken from the record.
Maurice, you did not raise your hand. Therefore, your heinous comment will be stricken from the record.
Chameleon.
And then the chameleon removes his line from the whatever recording they have. But that's gotta be my favorite line from this guy right here.
And then also King Julien has another line where he's like, who's making that noise? That's me.
Yeah.
And then also the spider sequence too.
Oh, yeah.
With
Officers, we'll just,
We're hot and new.
like they're like murdering Alex.
How'd he do?
The spider's like actually nice. They're like beating him. If they can talk to animals, I don't know why it's like a scary animal.
Yeah, I know.
He heard what she said.
Yeah, and freaking
But-
Gloria's beating him with a
yeah.
stick for like 10 minutes.
And obviously the scene where when he gets tranked is hilarious too. That scene where it happens again, where he like
yeah.
wakes up, he's like, oh no, he goes like fast motion through it. Like that's a good one. He's in a SWAT team when the old lady kicks Alex in the nuts. They really take her out of there, like really fast. Like after she kicks him, they like take her out so
Yeah, I
fast,
know.
like out of there.
we'll handle this. Oh, I got it!
But no, I think we've honestly hit every single scene. Once again, it's a great film. Voice acting really just puts it over the top. And once again, like just like a film like Barnyard or Chicken Run, all the voices really carry that. Like Mel Gibson and Chicken Run.
Yeah.
Either way, though, it's a great film. Definitely check it out. Let us know in the comments what you think of Madagascar. Have you seen this film? And
I'm sure you have.
and obviously, stay tuned for the sequel to this film because, in my opinion, the second one was honestly better than this first one. You
It's
may
close.
disagree with that, but there's a certain character that's in the second one that is not in this film that just honestly, once again, it's one of our, it's one of our favorite voice actors. So anyways, Madagascar is a great film. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think of this film. Stay tuned for a lot more videos to come soon. But there should be some good news coming from Godzilla vs. Kong sometime soon because this movie is coming out at some point in time in our future. So
Eventually.
also stay tuned for a possible future video about picking our starting 5 kaiju versus each other. I don't know if you get that right now, but
hopefully that'll be out next week. Hopefully, I hope to have that up Tuesday.
definitely a
Look
lot.
forward to that.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of content to come. Once again, though, this is Madagascar. This is our movie review of. This is our review of the movie Madagascar.
My favorite movies.
One of our favorite movies. It's a 10 out of 10, absolutely. And we watched this movie 1,000 times, and it's just a classic. And definitely, just hopefully you guys have seen it. If not, I would definitely recommend you check it out. I honestly think it's a great movie for adults or kids. Obviously, if you're an adult, maybe you wouldn't like it as much, but I think honestly it's a movie that adults could watch because there are some jokes and stuff that. I mean, obviously, there's a few that are really good. So
Yeah, if you're a kid and you haven't seen this, please see this.
Yeah.
You're doing a disservice. You haven't
it's a
seen
great film. So thanks for watching our review of Madagascar. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Christmas. So today we're reviewing.
Madagascar.
So Madagascar is a movie circulating around mainly.
4 animals to run a zoo, and it is a classic movie, one of our favorite movies, obviously continuing this My Favorite Movie series, and what we're...
Review.
Yeah, this movie is just perfect. I mean, is it going down?
What, is it just our heads? Have we ever had a review of just our heads?
It wasn't supposed to do that. Oh my god.
We just our eyes?
I mean, this is how it's supposed to be. You should start over. Jeez, old Pete.
I just restart it.
Now you're like off the screen.
Just restart it. You want me to restart it?
Yeah, let's just restart it.